Okay, so back to the problem. We are trying to figure out why the absorption column is not operating well after doing the recycling and after fixing the inputs of the stripper and fixing the or adjusting the flow rate of the fresh solvent. We can now check the flow rate of the fresh solvent, by the way, so that we know how much makeup of the solvent we are using. I believe it's going to be 120 something, or it's 150 kilomoles per hour. So I'm making up with 15% of the total amount of the solvent to the column, which is too much. To understand what's the problem, we need to take a look at the absorber and to kind of remind ourselves how we chose the absorber and what kind of inputs we put to the absorber. The absorber is a column that has no reboiler and has no condenser, and due to this nature of the column, we didn't have any column specifications that we specified. I didn't specify reflux ratio, boil-up ratio, bottom rate, distillate flow rate, anything like this. We didn't specify anything here. So the absorber does not have the inner restrictions that can fix or adjust the output of the column. Um, Rather than the pressure and the number of stages, but instead of these, I don't have any other than this, I don't have any other things or other specs that I can adjust to fix the outputs of the column. And that's why it's highly dependent of the feed that's going into the column. And this is the point, that the feed to the column is the source of the error. Back to the stream results, we found that the flow rate and the composition is fine, the pressure is fine, but the only issue here is this. The temperature of the feed solvent to the column is way higher than it should be. It should be 25 degrees and it's now 113. And we mentioned before that the high temperature reduces the efficiency of the absorption. And of course, the higher temperature will cause the evaporation of water to increase. And we don't have here a condenser, we don't have anything to reduce the temperature of the stream, so we have to do this before the stream enters the column. And that's why when we drew the absorption stripping column, we had this rich lean solvent exchanger, and we mentioned that this is important because we have the rich solvent is low temperature stream and the lean solvent is a high temperature stream, and this is going to a low temperature column and this is going to a high temperature column. So we exchange the temperatures between the two streams so that we have each stream going into the column with proper conditions. So this is what we need to do here, is to put a heat exchanger here so that we can exchange the heat between this stream and this stream. And this is something that's important to understand, and back to the point that I mentioned before, that the user is not someone who is clicking on buttons and writing numbers. He is a person, or she is a person who can understand the concept and can understand the effect of the parameters or different parameters on the performance of the units, and knows how to fix the errors that faces him or her. So this is a very critical point and important point. So that in a case like this, the problem is not in the column; it's in the temperature of the stream. So the solution of this is to put a heat exchanger, which is might not be a logical thing or something that is jumps into your mind directly. So the heat exchanger here is going to exchange the heat of the cold stream with the heat of the hot stream. This hot stream is almost pure water, and this cold stream is water with ammonia. We regarding the routing of the streams in the heat exchanger, we usually say that we mentioned that before, that the stream that is corrosive, that is higher in pressure, that is more fouling, should go to the pipes. And this stream is higher in pressure because this coming at 6.5 atmosphere, and this contains ammonia, which might cause some corrosion, because ammonia with water might make some nitric acid or something like this. So this stream is higher in pressure and more dangerous, more corrosive, or cause more corrosion. So I'm gonna route the stream so that the cold stream goes into the tubes. So I'm gonna go here and see which one of them has the cold in the tubes. This is hot in the tubes, this is hot in the shell. So I'm gonna call it the solvent exchanger. I'm gonna break this stream and uh, route this stream to go to the tubes. This is coming out of the tubes. This is gonna break. I'm gonna break this as well. This is gonna go into the shell. This is the hot, and this is oops. Is gonna come out of the shell. So this is how, or the shape of the heat exchanger. I think I didn't connect this stream well. So now I have these streams connected in a proper way, and I'm gonna call it the regenerated. And now the naming of the streams is gonna be critical because the streams are gonna be more and more, and you have to write a name that makes it easy for you to know which stream you're talking about. So this is regenerated solvent. I'm sorry, call it regenerated solvent P or solvent PC. I mean that it's cooled down, and I'm gonna call it regenerated solvent P. And one thing that might be tricky with the naming is that you have only 8 characters here, so you have to use 8 characters to like put up a name that's easy for you to understand. So it's kind of tricky, and I'm gonna call it the reach solvent 1, which is going to the heat exchanger, or I can call it H so that I know that this is the hot reach solvent, and I'm gonna call it C so it's the cold solvent. And here I'm gonna go for a shortcut column. Of course, I'm not gonna go into the details of heat exchanger. And usually the thing that you define for the specification for the heat exchanger, the most logical thing is the temperature approach. I'm gonna make it 5 or 10 degrees Celsius. Let's make it 10 degrees Celsius or Kelvin. It's the same, because this is the most logical spec that we usually use. So now I should get the stream, instead of having this at 120 or 100 and something. I don't remember what was the temperature of this stream. Uh, let's take a look. I just want to revise before. It's 127. So instead of being at 127, it should be going into the column at lower temperature. So I'm running the simulation now and taking a look at the results. So it's running now. Let's see at the stream results what we got. So the temperature was 127 for the regenerated solvent, and it's coming out as 90. So I have almost 30 degrees. It's more than 30. It's 37 degrees Celsius less temperature of the stream. And for the mixer, I think it's gonna be 90 something as well for the output stream, which is the solvent. It's 83, so it's 83. So it's way less than it was before. It's almost 30 degrees less. And by taking a look at the stream results here, we should find some improvement in the temperature, in the separation. It's not as designed before. It should be 25, but it's 83, so it should be better. So we should see some improvements here. So the amount of solvent or amount of ammonia that came out with the pure gas is less. It was 16 and now it's 14, and the water evaporating is 76. Before it was 120 something. I think it was 122. So it's getting better, but it's not what I am looking for. Still, I need some more improvement. But this is a good indication that I'm putting my hand on the problem now, and I'm fixing it. The issue was with the temperature of the feed, the solvent. So I need to fix it. back to this flow sheet, this is what I demonstrated before, but usually it's the heat exchanger does not provide the enough heat reduction or the temperature reduction in the solvent stream. So we use one or maybe two coolers with cooling water or another utility, so that we can reach the required temperature here. So we will add another cooler here after the heat exchanger. This is used to make the or reduce the amount of coolant that I'm using in the cooling unit here, and to make better use of the energy so that we can reduce the amount of heat we put or we provide to the reboiler in the stripping column. So we will put here a cooler, and I'm gonna call it solvent cooler. Again, breaking this column, I mean this stream, and connect this here and connect this here. Rotate it so that it looks nicer. Oops, I think I did it the wrong way. I'm gonna flip it vertical, so now it looks way better. I'm gonna call it regenerated solvent PC2 because it's cooled twice, and this is regenerated solvent PC1. It's cooled once, and this is gonna be easy now. The spec of the cooler is just the how much pressure is lost and how much temperature that we need to get out. So it's 25. I can reduce it to with negative -0.5 atmospheres or so. It shouldn't make any problem now. And now uh, we should have all the issues solved, and we should get the output of the column as it was before. I know from the stream results of the solvent that the temperatures is the output temperature is 25, which is the solvent to absorber. The mole flow is 1000 with almost 100% water. This is 99.99 0.989, which is almost 0.99. And now by looking at the stream results of the absorber, we should find the same outputs that we used to see before. So it's giving the exact same amounts we used to see before. It's 4.9, which is the exact number. It's 95, so I'm now achieving 95% removal of the ammonia from the air, and the exact amount of water that was 13 kilomoles per hour that was lost in the gas stream. And now back to the column. Let's take a look at the stripper's stream results. The air is 95 and 5 air, and all the air and the ammonia with 25 kilomoles per hour of water are lost. This is a little higher than what we used to lose, and this is because the spec that we let's take a look at the stream results before. Because we put the spec as 0.88 of the bottoms to feed ratio, we can make it higher so that we can reduce the amount of the ammonia or the water loss. So I'm gonna make it 0.89. Running the simulation and take a look at the stripper stream results, and now the water that's lost is 18 instead of 20 something. So it's getting better. We can change it and make it better, even better though. So if you want, you can play with it. It's something that you can do with design spec or sensitivity analysis, depending on what you want to do. Um, and now the absorber and the stripper are working fine. And let's take a look at the mixer one more time, just to see how much fresh solvent we are providing to the system. So the fresh solvent that we are using is 32 kilomoles per hour. This is way better than the 150 that I used to provide before. Still, there might be some improvements to the process. You can do this by again doing some design spec. I don't think we can do design spec here because we don't have any specs, but you can do some sensitivity analysis here. But the losses in water here is not the the big amount, it's better to focus here. You can change the bottoms to feed ratio. You can change the boil up ratio. You can see which one of them will have a better impact on the water losses in the stripper. But anyways, I believe this tutorial was helpful because you see now how the flow sheet shape changed from what it used to be before to now. Instead of having two columns, we added a mixer, we added two heat exchanger, or a cooler and heat exchanger, and a pump. So the this is all done to make the recycle process successful. And again, having issues with the recycle does not mean that you are doing something wrong. You are going with the regular steps. You will do the recycle. You will have issues. You will try to fix the issues, and this is how the life goes. So I hope it helps, and I'll see you in the next video, inshallah. Goodbye.